What's up everyone, I'm Stephen Harrell, Tiny House Listings. I'm back out here at my off-grid property here in eastern North Carolina, where my father lives in this tiny house right here. And just helping him with a couple projects out here, and just, to be honest, just trying to escape the city for a couple days. Just want some peace and relaxation, meditation, I guess you could call it. But we're out here and it's a rainy day, beautiful rainy day, and I've been wanting to talk about this issue for a little while, and I thought a rainy day would be very fitting. So today I want to talk to you guys about the legalities of collecting rainwater for your own personal use. There's a lot of reasons for collecting rainwater. Different people have different reasons. Some people use it just for sprinkling their yard, or some people use it to wash their car, some people for gardening. The case out here for my father is for literally everything. He uses water for everything he does out here. And so far, this system for him, he's been using it for over a year now, has worked beautifully. On average, he only uses about, the best we figured is about 6 gallons per day. And this is an 875 gallon system. And you can see right here, he actually does not have much water. We recently drained these to clean them out, and they started growing algae. And it's very common knowledge, if you have a system like this with using IBC totes or something like that, you're gonna wanna paint them, which is what we're about to do. He's gonna paint these black. And then also there's calculator formulas and things like that where you can put the correct amount of chlorine or bleach in there from time to time just to make sure to keep the algae at bay. But yeah, these are 275 gallons each, and which works out to be 850 gallon system, which in theory will last my father 3-4 months. And so far he's had no issues whatsoever other than the algae. So it's a great system, the whole entire system. We got these used on Craigslist. They'd only be used once, and it was just sweetener, sugar water basically in these. So they're food grade, and the whole entire system costs $400. And if you're interested in seeing the build and learning more of the technicalities, the way the whole water system works, for the tiny house, just click there and it'll take you to that. Check out this huge pile of cedar shakes I scored on Craigslist for 40 bucks. We're gonna be using that for upcoming projects, so stay tuned for that. On any given month, we all have recurring bills that we'll be paying every month for the rest of our lives until we die. One of them is water, right? So what we've done here is figure out a way, not because we wanted to save money, but it was also for necessity, but we figured out a way to sustainably and reliably capture enough water for use for my father full time. And it's actually more than enough water for him. In the summer, he sprays an all natural chemical out on the property to keep the mosquitoes at bay. So even in the summer, when he's using, spraying hundreds of gallons of water all over the property, he still has enough water. Wouldn't it be nice to remove one of those utility bills like water and be able to do it forever? Well, that's exactly what we've done here. And this entire system actually takes zero or very little maintenance to keep running. My dad wrapped insulation around the pipes to keep them from freezing, but later on he found this insulation tape, which is a much better product. So when this insulation here fails or eventually becomes soggy or whatnot, we'll take it off and use this stuff right here throughout the whole system. But today I want to talk to you about the legalities of collecting rainwater. And before I even get onto this, I want to let you know I'm not like a huge expert, but I've done quite a bit of research before I actually built this system. Before my father and I built this system, because I wanted to make sure that we're not doing anything illegal, or maybe a little bit of civil disobedience added in there. I'm just kidding, kinda. But the short answer is to the question whether or not is collecting rainwater legal, it just depends on where you live. And by saying depends on where you live, I'm saying in the United States. To be honest with you, like in Canada and all the other countries that you guys are watching this from, I really don't know. But just from the perspective of the United States, which is a good portion of you all, it depends on where you live. Like for example, here in North Carolina, actually collecting rainwater is encouraged. But then in other states, collecting rainwater is illegal. And the best I could see when you look at a lot of these bills that have been put like at the state level as to why it's illegal or illegal in these states is that you're robbing the earth from water, right, that it would otherwise receive. And in some ways that argument holds water, get it? But in some ways it doesn't make any sense. Like for example here, we collect rainwater over the course of a 16 foot by 28 foot surface. The water is then used to the house, and then not too far from here is just spit out back onto the ground via a PVC pipe. That water that goes back into the ground literally goes into the same table just a few feet from where it would have been collected. And my father uses all natural products, things like that, so it doesn't harm the environment. Yeah, I mean, like out of all the utilities that we have, electricity, cable, internet, water is obviously the most important one. And I think having the option to collect that free resource yourself is a good thing. But it kind of gets down to the question, why do lawmakers want to regulate the practice of collecting water for yourself? And to be honest, I don't have a true answer. I can tell you, I know it's very rewarding coming out here and taking a shower or doing whatever it is you need with water that was collected from a system that my father and I built ourselves with our own hands. Maybe some of you are more experts in the subject than I am, and you can leave maybe your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. There is one YouTube channel that I actually borrowed some of the ideas of this system from. It's called Homestead-onomics. I'll leave a link to that down in the description below. This guy is pretty much I would say an authority on the subject, and he's built tons of systems for himself out in the desert, and he seems to know what he's talking about. So I would highly recommend going to his channel and checking his stuff out. But yeah, I can tell you the concept of collecting your rainwater is not that difficult. It's quite easy. I've actually seen a lot of tiny houses that have an elevated like 50-gallon barrel that is higher than like the kitchen and things like that. So I do know the math though. If you live in a place that has higher ground, you can do a system like this without needing a pump, and it's for every 1 foot of elevation decrease, you have a half of PSI of pressure. So if you were 100 feet, so if your rainwater collecting system was 100 feet higher than your cabin or tiny house, or whatever you're using, your PSI would be 50. And you only need a fraction of that, honestly, to have a decent amount of pressure for your rainwater. But that's getting to a different subject. I just wanted to talk about the legality of rainwater collection. And yeah, it just depends on mostly where you live. I will show you a link down in the description below as well that will give you can look up your state. And if you live in another country, I'm not sure. It might be at the countrywide level instead of the state level. But yeah, for here in North Carolina, it's actually very much encouraged, and you don't see a lot of people doing it. I think a lot of people maybe just don't even care to build a system like this or have it in their yard, or maybe it's just easier to pluck down the money and pay each month. But yeah, I mean, here it works beautifully. Out of all the systems that are out here, the rainwater collection system works the best, and we really love it. And we're going to take you along for a couple more projects here in the near future as we paint these and show you how that's going to work. And also we're going to do a filtration system of the gray water that's going to go through a series of plants that will thrive from the particles, food particles and stuff like that go down the drain when my father's washing dishes and things like that. And then on the opposite end will be perfect water, which I think we're going to try to use for the raised bed gardens that we plan to build here in the spring. All right, thanks everyone for watching, and we will see you on the next video.